The title of this message is God's Picture Book for Dummies. God is the same in the Old Testament and the New Testament, but people's perceptions are that God has somehow changed between the Old Testament and the New Testament. What makes the difference? The Old Testament tells us about God. The New Testament gives us a fuller picture of God, and a picture is worth 1,000 words. And in the New Testament, Jesus is the picture of what God is like. We might say that in Jesus we have God's picture book for dummies. A picture book may appear too simple for some. It's why Jesus says the wise and the intelligent don't get the picture. Jesus is speaking about his critics, those who think they know more about God than they really do. They picture God as a rule maker. They search the scriptures and find all the rules to follow. They assume they know all about God, and what matters is to follow the rules. They took great pride in keeping all the rules, but they lacked one thing: love. And Jesus gives a picture of the love and compassion at the heart of God. A picture even infants, even babies can understand, because babies understand love. Looking back into the Old Testament, we see God is expressing love and compassion all along. We just don't yet have the picture book of God's love given to us in Jesus. Love leads to trust. We have two pictures of God's love illustrated in stained glass windows in our church. One is of Jesus with the children, the center window above the altar. The other is over to the right as you're facing the front, and it's the window of Jesus, the Good Shepherd, leading the sheep and holding a lamb. And children and sheep come to one they trust. Psalm 37 gives an invitation to set aside our anxiety and to trust in God. In God we trust our familiar words. It's a motto on all our coins. But do we really trust in God? And do we trust that God's love is for all? Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." We're grateful to bring to Jesus our burdens and our cares, and to find rest in his care and love. But do we sometimes skip over those words? He says, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden." Even though we believe in Jesus, we still share a common problem with all humanity. And that is that when it comes to love, we love those who love us. And usually find it more difficult to love those who are not a part of our group. But Jesus' love is different. Jesus spreads love's circle wide enough to include all. And all means the poorest of the poor, the outcasts, the disabled, the sick, those possessed by evil spirits, and even traitors and foreigners and enemies, and all included, all even included those who crucified him. Jesus hung there on that cross. He breathed his last and gave up his spirit to God. And the devil thought sure that he had the last word. The devil thought he'd put an end to all this stuff about love. But the devil had no clue, because Sunday came, and all heaven rejoiced, because Jesus arose from the dead, and God's love continues on. While Jesus is in heaven now, he's also here with us. Because Jesus remains here with us in two amazing ways. The first is that Jesus breathed his breath, his spirit, into our lungs, into our bodies. And every breath we take is a reminder that he is with us and that we are not alone. Take a deep breath and remember. The second way Jesus remains with us is that he joins us with others to form his own body here on earth. Because as the church, we are all part of Jesus' body. And through the Holy Spirit, we breathe Jesus' breath. And even though we are his body and breathe his breath, as the song says, others will only know who we are through our love for one another. The world needs love, but love begins with trust. And a safe place is needed where trust and love can flourish. As Jesus' body and breath, we are called to be that safe place where no one is judged and all are welcome. A safe place where we value the interests of others as well as our own. And in a safe place, each one is encouraged to be the unique person God created each one to be. Psalm 37 says, "Do not fret because of evildoers, but trust in the Lord and do good." And the next step in Psalm 37 is to delight in the Lord. And here's a recipe for joyful living. Begin with a full measure of trust in God's love. Add a double measure of God's love for all. Carefully mix in a full measure of all the good you can do. And finally, add in another measure of less fretting over evil that you can do nothing about. And while the devil is still around and still rears his ugly head, God wins in the end. I want to love more, trust more, draw the circle wider, build bridges, not walls. I want to delight in the love illustrated in God's picture book for dummies. Join me in this great adventure with Jesus.